Well, what a race that was. Welcome folks to this video, and I'm going to be talking to you in this one about the Australian Grand Prix. We'll talk about the runners and riders, the movers and shakers, and a couple of other storylines that emerged. Firstly, the drives of the day, and it pretty much can't be given to just one of the top five. There are so many impressive stories that you can see there. Lando Norris winning by nearly a second from Max Verstappen. He was really good on the race start and on the subsequent restarts, which has not necessarily been Lando Norris' strong suit. Less so in the wet, less so even more when compared to Max Verstappen, but he managed to hold on. And it can't just be, the McLaren being the better car, because, well, it objectively is. Because rain tends to be the great equaliser, especially when Max Verstappen isn't in that same car as you. It could be the great equaliser. He is arguably the greatest driver at the moment. And for him to be beaten in an out-and-out battle against Lando Norris, fair play to Lando. George Russell got a quiet podium as well, a relatively quiet podium. I mean, it was that he benefited from Yuki Tsunoda's issues. He benefited from the Ferraris having the absolutely wonderful return of the Ferrari master plan. And he benefited from Piastri's off that cost him nearly a lap. Albon in fourth. There was a time where it looked like he could be getting a podium. Brilliant stuff for him and for Williams, a time where his teammate didn't even get past the first lap. And then Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Points on debut? Pretty good. Top 5 on debut, that's great. Top 5 on debut in the wet at Australia, at an Albert Park where he was the only rookie to get into the points. He was one of 2 rookies to finish the race. Well done to him. Honestly, yeah, that top 5 you can barely separate. Antonelli got unlucky with that 5-second penalty for an unsafe pit release, though usually that's more on the team than the driver. P6 through 10, though, is otherworldly. Lance Stroll, who started the race when they went out for the eventually delayed start due to Isaac Hadjar's crash, he started on wets and got P6. Nico Hulkenberg gets 7th place in his return to Sauber. He outscores in one race what Sauber got in the entirety of 2024. Charles Leclerc gets 8th, which is a good recovery from Ferrari deciding to go 1 lap longer than everyone else for some reason, as the rain got worse. Oscar Piastri in 9th place. Oscar Piastri, who was a lap down, gets into the top 10. That is one of the drives of the day, if it wasn't for the fact that it was a self-induced problem. And then Lewis Hamilton in 10th. He stayed close to Leclerc most of the day. That move that Piastri did on Hamilton was just amazing. That was a brilliant move, and a very brave and bold move. Lewis has been behind Leclerc this weekend, but we all kind of expected that. Leclerc is the, well, not number 1 driver, but the preeminent driver for Ferrari. He is the lead for the team because he's the one that they've built everything around. Lewis was behind Leclerc, everyone expected it, but a lot closer than a lot of us were expecting. The other 4 finishers were drivers that have had some sort of bad luck. Gasly did well, made the most out of what were some very tricky situations. But in the end, it was going deep just after the final safety car restart that cost him. Going deep and his slow rejoin allowed Leclerc just about to get through, but it made it even easier for Lewis Hamilton to follow Leclerc through. And then Yuki Tsunoda, who he's bit all over the place. He was up in second at one point, but Lewis Hamilton was leading at one point. But it just fell apart in those final few laps. And then the two Haas's, Ocon clear of Behrman. And, well, Behrman was able to unlap himself 3 times this race. Because the first time he then pitted and went dropped back again. Then went back again behind the leaders. And that Haas has been struggling. Don't know if it's just Albert Park or if it's going to be a long season for the, for now, only American team in F1. As for the retirees, pretty much all of them have had something new to contend with this weekend. I say pretty much. Fernando Alonso appears to have been haunted by the ghost of George Russell. Because, well, I guess the ghost of George Russell's near flip in 2024, because Russell gets third, Alonso goes off where Russell crashed last year. But outside of that, Sainz, he was on debut for Williams. Lawson on debut for Red Bull, Bortoleto in his debut, Hadjar in his debut race, and Doohan in his first home race, his second Grand Prix outright. Lawson you can sort of expect as well, because he didn't have the experience before. But the fact that he dropped it in the same way that Hadjar did, albeit under racing conditions and on slicks on a wet track, it was a bit surprising. I think Helmut Marko is going to be seething seeing 2 of the Red Bull juniors going off at that corner. Because didn't Sergio Perez also go off at the same corner at one point? Doohan's one was disappointing, but it's again the same thing as most of these other guys, which was keep it off the painted lines. I can tell you how bad the painted lines are in the sim. I mean, iRacing, my gosh, when the rain goes down in iRacing, we had this in our Bathurst 12 this year where it got ended because of braking on the painted line in the wet. But Gabriel Bortoleto's one was just bizarre. Look forward to seeing a full breakdown of it, but it looked like as he turned around and he may have decided to brake on the painted line, the rear left, the rear right just broke. I think the rear right just broke under sheer force, not under contact with anything. But anyways, those are my thoughts and views and feelings. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and until next time, bye for now.